I can hear that. I can hear that, okay? Okay.
Good morning. Please join us for our opening gathering hymn, number 130.
We're doing verses 1 and 4. O liberating rose that glows on ragged stem, your beauty helps all hearts lose power to condemn. Your buds are tight with prophecy, your thorns are tougher poetry. You sign the whole and gift of life. O liberating love, we hear you in our sigh. We glimpse you when we see your wet or weary eye. We touch you when our hands extend to soothe or to embrace a friend. You sign the whole and source of life.
Good morning. And welcome. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Sarasota and Lakewood Ranch, and to our visitors who are here with us live in person or possibly watching this on YouTube over the internet. We welcome you in both cases. I am Rick Sandler. I am a member of the worship committee. Our task, as some of you must know, is to develop the programming when our new minister is not available on a Sunday. And we have a wonderful, wonderful guest who will be with us today. I will introduce him momentarily. Again, if you're visiting us for first or second or third time, we welcome you. And there is a visitor's table outside where you can find out more information about our wonderful church. And there is a banner, as you can see on our website, marked Welcome Visitors. And we invite you to consider registering with our guest book so that you can receive information in our newsletter and other pertinent information about our wonderful church. Charlie Bradt, our guest speaker today, has been teaching and meditating, teaching yoga and meditation for over 30 years and has been teaching mindfulness for the last 8 years. Of his experience, he says, "I have drawn on a great many teachers, both ancient and modern, who have informed my understanding of what it means to be fully human and the paths to discovering that. I find that I learn best in dialogue with others of similar interests as we test together what we know to be true right now. I find that new insights are always awaiting my discovery. This is my effort to share some of these insights with you as they continue to unfold and to engage you with further exploration." We're delighted to have him here, and I welcome him and look forward. You may wonder why there's a whole bunch of roses all over the place and why we sang "O Liberating Rose," which is not a hymn that we have sung very, very many times. I think probably never, and because it's kind of a difficult one, but you will find out later in Charlie's sermon why we have chosen roses as the theme for our service for today. It'll all become clear. I was thinking the other day, listening to Reverend Jay, and his last 2 or 3 weeks have been about what it means to be a Unitarian, what it means to be a good citizen on this earth, what it means to be together in community. And so I thought a lot about it, and I sort of thought about Unitarian Universalism. So a guy saved up for many, many, many years, and he finally was able to afford a Mercedes-Benz with all kinds of options. He was so excited about it. He wanted to take care of it in every possible way. So he went to a priest and he said, "Father, will you say a blessing over my Mercedes?" The priest says, "I'm sorry, I don't understand. What's a Mercedes?" So he went to a rabbi, same thing. "I'm sorry, what's a Mercedes?" So then he went to a UU minister and said, "Would you be willing to say a blessing over my Mercedes?" And the UU minister said, "I'm sorry, I don't understand. What's a blessing?" I have to have a little fun. A UU family moved into a new neighborhood. Their little girl finds a new playmate. They're having a wonderful, happy time together. One day, the playmate says, "We're Episcopalians. What are you?" The UU child looks around for a minute and thinks and says, "I'm not sure, but I think we're League of Women Voters." So a little Unitarian Universalist girl was sitting on a curb in front of her house with a very sad look on her face. An older lady happened upon her and asked her why she looked so sad. The girl said, "My little kitty cat died." The older woman, trying to be helpful, said to the little girl, "Oh, I know you're sad, honey, but right now your kitty is with Jesus." The little girl crinkled up her nose for a second and replied, "What would Jesus want with a dead cat?" Anyway, it's always interesting to try to be a UU. And speaking of UUs, the president of our congregation, Mr. Bill Payton, has several announcements that he wants to make. I will step away.
Good morning. I read recently that the average woman speaks 20,000 words a week. The average man speaks 7,000 words a week. I am clearly the exception to that rule. So our first announcement is that we would like to return to our pre-COVID tradition of having new members signing on the first Sunday of the month. So if anyone here is interested in signing the membership book, Claire Flannery and I will be in Jay's office following the service. So we hope to see you there. You don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Jim. Those are words from a song by Jim Croce, "Don't Mess Around with Jim." So no one would think of taking the mask off the Lone Ranger, but we're wondering about taking the mask off of all of you in the sanctuary. I know this could be a controversial subject. We will take this information back to the safety committee, but by show of hands, I am interested in how many of you would be happy to take your mask off in the sanctuary. Good. And how many would be opposed? Well, we will take this information back to the safety committee. Of course, whatever decision they make is still their decision to make. But I appreciate your help. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. And during coffee hour, you don't have to wear a mask. And I hope you will join us after the service for coffee hour. I chose an opening reading that I happen to like very, very much, and I hope you will enjoy it as well. It's called "Look to This Day." Look to this day, for it is life, the very life of life. In its brief course lie all of the veritudes and realities of our existence, the bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of beauty. For yesterday is but a dream, and tomorrow is only a vision. But today, well lived, makes every yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day. Every week we light our chalice, and every week we usually have a wonderful member of our RE program to help us with that wonderful task. So I'd like to introduce Catherine Bonner, and who's this? Hannah. Anna, thank you for joining us as we all together please say these words. As we light this chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, we affirm our second principle: justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Thank you both. Good job. Okay. And our opening hymn, again, one that we don't do often, Find a Stillness, led by Robert Lischetti as our song leader today. Find a Stillness.
Find a stillness, hold a stillness, let the stillness carry me. Find the silence, hold the silence, let the silence carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony. Seek the essence, hold the essence, let the essence carry me. Let me flower, help me flower, watch me flower, carry me. In the Spirit, by the Spirit, with the Spirit giving power, I will find true harmony.
Thank you, Robert. And thanks to all of you. Aha, it's time for all ages. And we got to see what is the Stinky Cheese Man. This is going to be really interesting. I can't wait to find out about this. Okay.
Greetings, everyone. Well, dead crowd today. Greetings, everyone. Thank you. You know, as I thought about this Sunday, I toyed between two topics. You know, one, tomorrow is Labor Day, and we should acknowledge somehow what this day means. For many of you, you know what Labor Day means, or do you? Here in the U.S., we honor the contributions and the achievements of American workers on the first Monday of September. But do you know it was created by the labor movement in the late 1800s, when the average American worked 12-hour days, 7 days a week, just to make ends meet? I'm not so sure things have changed that much for some of us. And children as young as 5 and 6 would work in the mines, the mills, and the factories. So just think about that, you younger yous. You wouldn't have to go to school, but you would be hardened workers by now. Well, guess what? The workers didn't like having to work that hard just so that the owners of the businesses could get super wealthy. Once again, things have not changed too much. So the workers formed unions and went on strike until they were given better wages and working conditions were improved. So the idea of a working man's holiday caught on across the U.S., so much so that President Cleveland signed it into law in 1894. So if you didn't know, now you know why we celebrate Labor Day. But that's not the topic of today's sermon, which is, what is it I really want? Which reminded me of one of my most favorite children's stories, The Stinky Cheese Man by John Siska and Lane Smith. Once upon a time, there was a little old woman and a little old man who lived together in a little old house, and they were lonely. So the little old lady decided to make a man out of stinky cheese. She gave him a piece of bacon for a mouth and 2 olives for eyes and put him in the oven to cook. And when she opened the oven to see if he was done, the smell knocked her back. Phew! What is that terrible smell? She cried. Well, the stinky cheese man hopped out of the oven and he ran out the door calling, "Run, run, run, as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the stinky cheese man." Well, the little old lady and the little old man sniffed the air. "I'm not really very hungry," said the little old man. "And I'm not really all that lonely," said the little old lady. So they didn't chase the stinky cheese man. So the stinky cheese man ran and ran until he met a cow eating grass in a field. "Wow, what's that awful smell?" said the cow. Well, the stinky cheese man said, "I've run away from a little old lady and a little old man, and I can run away from you too, I can. Run, 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 as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the stinky cheese man." Well, the cow gave another sniff and said, "I bet you could give someone 2 or 3 stomach aches. I think I'll just eat weeds. So the cow didn't chase the stinky cheese man either. So the stinky cheese man ran and ran until he met some kids playing outside school. Gross, said a little girl. What's that nasty smell? I've run away from a little old lady and a little old man and a cow, and I can run away from you too, I can. Run, run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the stinky cheese man. The little boy looked up, he sniffed the air, and he said, if we catch him, our teacher will probably make us eat him. Let's get out of here. So the kids didn't chase the stinky cheese man either. So by and by, the stinky cheese man came to a river with no bridge. How will I ever cross this river? It's too big to jump, and if I swim across, I'll probably fall apart, said you-know-who. Just then, the sly fox, who shows up in a lot of stories like these, poked his head out of the bushes. Why, just hop on my back and I'll carry you across, Stinky Cheese Man. How do I know you won't eat me? Trust me, said the fox. So the Stinky Cheese Man hopped on the fox's back. The fox swam to the middle of the river and said, oh man, what is that funky smell? The fox coughed and gagged and sneezed, and the Stinky Cheese Man flew off his back right into the river where he fell apart. The end. Now, the moral of this story, remember how this all started with the little old lady and the little old man who were lonely. Did they really know what they wanted? Think about it. All right, you younger yous, let's head on out to our classroom as these guys enjoy their service here. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Now I'm going to turn the program over to our guest speaker, Mr. Charlie Bradt.
The opening words today come from Helen Keller, who says this: I have for many years endeavored to make this vital truth clear, and still people marvel when I tell them that I am happy. They imagine my limitations weigh heavily upon my spirit. and chain me to the rock of despair. Yet it seems to me happiness has very little to do with the senses. If we make up our minds that this is a drab and purposeless universe, it will be that and nothing else. On the other hand, if we believe that the earth is ours and that the sun and moon hang in the sky for our delight, there will be joy upon the hills and gladness in our fields, because the artist in our souls glorifies creation. Surely it gives dignity to life to believe that we are born into this world for noble ends.
The good work of this church is made possible by your very generous contributions in your pledging, and obviously when you join us here as well. And as you know, we are very grateful. The offertory will take place in a moment, and for those of you who are joining us online, you may also participate. If you look at our website, you will see that there is a button called Donate. And if you click on that button, you may make a contribution to the health of our church as well. If you watch the service later on YouTube, there is another opportunity for us to grab your money. And so if you go to the YouTube site, you'll see another place where you can click on as well and offer to donate there. Again, we are always grateful, and the support that you give us allows us to do some of these wonderful programs, including some fabulous guest speakers like Mr. Bradt and others. So the offertory will now take place. Thank you.
Good morning. A little over 60 years ago, when I courted and married my wife, I developed the habit of bringing her a single rose when I came home. She liked it. And back then it only cost 50 cents. In our first year of marriage, despite our pledge to never let the sun set on an argument, the sun did just that. We argued at night, and we argued again in the morning. Welcome to marriage, I'm thinking. During that day at work, I continually put together and edited in my mind just what I was going to say when I got home, so that she would see clearly that I was right. I was sure I was right. On my way home, I polished my little presentation to perfection. I also passed the flower shop. I drove righteously by. Not today. Then I had one of those moments which have become a pattern for me. What am I doing with this mic here? Maybe a little further away? Okay. I had one of those moments which had become a pattern for me. My curiosity got the best of me, and I just wondered what it would be like to get her a flower on a day when I didn't want to do something I'd never done before. So I dropped my 4 bits on the counter and I picked up my rose. Well, I walked up to the door of our bungalow, almost unaware of the flower, still putting the finishing touches on my presentation. But when I walked in and she saw the flower, she smiled at me and ran into my arms. I'm sure many of you, particularly women, could have seen this coming, but I couldn't. I couldn't see it coming. I honestly thought that what I wanted was to be right. But in that moment, I realized I wanted this a whole lot more. But I didn't even know it until she hugged me. Yes, what I wanted, and still do, is love. It gave birth for me to the saying, you can be happy or you can be right, but you probably can't be both. It also gave birth to the question with which I titled this talk, what is it I really want? As I pondered this question, at first it seemed selfish. And of course, I shouldn't be selfish. This is one of the things I learned growing up. But I'd already started questioning some of the things I should or shouldn't do, according to convention. And I was curious about where the question would take me. Now, here's an interesting thing. In letting this question lead me, I learned many things. Jeez. I never knew growing up, and never knew in my early adult years. What I learned was some of the beliefs I hold today, and I'd like to tell you about them. So back to the question, what did I want? At first, I thought I might want things, house, cars, clothes, good food and wine, and money, of course, more money. And I did want these things, but I found that when I did get these things, they brought only temporary joy, which faded with time. No, I finally realized that what I really wanted, and still do, was and is a feeling which I imagined these things would bring. What I really wanted was and is a certain feeling. When I looked for the feeling I was after, I realized it's a very simple combination of wanting to feel safe, wanting to feel peaceful, wanting to feel happy, those kinds of things. So the question is, how do I get these feelings? That's the next question. One of the beliefs I grew up with was that my feelings, my peacefulness, or my anxiety, my happiness, or my despair, were the result of what happened in the world around me. For example, we say, you made me happy, or politics makes me angry, etc. I believed that my feelings were caused by people and events in the world around me. Another story. A 4-year-old boy named Mikey was standing at the top of the stairs at his home and saw his parents talking somberly by the front door. His father had his suitcase, and the boy knew that they were in the process of separation. He was afraid, so he called out in a loud voice, "Dad." His father stood still for a moment, looking out the front door, and the boy shouted again, "Dad." But his father never turned around. His father walked out the door, and the boy never saw him again. The boy's sponsoring story became this: my father didn't even love me enough to turn around. I must be not lovable. I'm not lovable. And his life became a reflection of that belief. His life proceeded poorly, and several years later, Mikey decided to try counseling. With great good fortune, he found a gifted therapist named Nancy. After a few weeks, the story about his father's leaving came up. Nancy had an idea. She said, "You become your father now. You trade places with your father, and let's see what happens." And so he did. After a few minutes, Mikey, now 34, began to sob. And he sobbed, and he sobbed. After many minutes, it ceased, and she asked him, "What happened?" And he said this: "My father didn't turn around because if he saw me, he wouldn't have been able to leave. And he knew that he had to leave for himself. My father loved me so much that he couldn't turn around." You can probably guess how Mikey's life gradually began to change with the help of Nancy. Now here's the point. No one can tell what the truth of this story is. The only one who can say what the truth is the Father, but he's gone. But it illustrates for me the simple fact that it's not what happens in our lives that determines what we feel, but what we believe about what happens. This man's belief changed, and so his life changed gradually. This is the single biggest learning I've had in my life, and it's changed everything for me. Because it means that I don't have to try to arrange the world and the people outside of me to be happy or peaceful. If I'm not peaceful and I want to be peaceful, I have to rearrange my life inside of me. I need to change what I think and what I believe. This sounds simple, and it is. But it wasn't and it isn't easy. It's still not easy because I spent most of my life with the belief that it was people and events in the world out there that caused my unpeacefulness. Can you feel the sense of freedom this idea presents? It means perhaps that we can begin to take responsibility for our experience, for our feelings, and we can do it by changing our minds. I'm going to use this principle to illustrate one of the other most important things that I've learned. It's about love. One of the things I learned about love growing up is that someone has to earn my love. They have earn my love. They have to be lovable. For to love someone who's unlovable would be silly, even unwise. In other words, there were conditions on my love. I think we all thought that. Maybe we still do. But when I pondered love more deeply, I did again what I've learned to do. I took my focus off of the other and put it on myself. And when I focused on myself, I realized that in those moments when I was unlovable, when I was irritating or angry, annoying or judging, in those moments when I was unlovable, was when I was most in need of being loved. Then I thought this: if that's true for me, then it's probably true for my partner, my wife, as well. So then, the pivotal question: if that's what I want from a loved one, is that what I'm offering to her? And I realized, no, I'm not. I'm not offering that. Can I hope for something from her that I'm not offering to her? And I realized, no, I can't hope for it because I'm not doing it. Does that make sense? But could I love her when she presented as unlovable? Another huge question. And I realized that what I was considering here was unconditional love. And the only thing that prevents unconditional love is the conditions I place on my loving. If I can let go of these conditions, then can I reach out? Then can I be kind and quiet and tender? Can I seek to comfort? Can I love? In those moments when she looks unlovable, in these moments, can I see that she's so much more than the words and actions that I find objectionable? Can I just let go of my judgments and accept her just the way she is? Frankly, this had never occurred to me. So I decided to actually practice it. Practice doing these things in my imagination. At first it seemed strange, counterintuitive. But with practice, it started to become possible, maybe even reasonable. But then I realized that if this means anything, that I would have to actually do it. This is where the rubber hits the road. And after many fits and starts, it turns out that I could do it. Not every time, of course, but at least sometimes. And with time, it started to become a practice. But here's the point, back to the beginning of this talk. When I could do it, I got what I really wanted. I felt the way I really wanted to feel when I simply allowed my heart to open with appreciative acceptance of her. I saw her differently, and I encountered this very simple question: is there really any more to loving another human being than simple, open-hearted acceptance of this person just the way she is? Of course, I don't always do these things just like anyone else. I backslide a lot, but I do carry them as intentions, and it helps. There are many corollaries to this story about loving. Just as I learned that loving can make me peaceful, so I learned there were other avenues as well. I learned that just as I can make the radical choice to love when I can, so I can make the radical choice to trust. I invite you to ponder this for just a moment. Why trust, you might ask, when the world doesn't seem very trustworthy? Because for me, in every moment of trusting, I feel more open, more relaxed, and more safe. And I like that. It gets me what I want. What is it I really want? I've also learned that simple compassion for another, opening the heart to understand another's suffering, not only draws me closer to the other, but it's also a wonderful path to inner peace. And I discovered that simple words or acts of kindness, authentically offered, are a wonderful path to peace. In fact, just the thought of kindness seems to elicit a warm feeling, doesn't it? So, kindness, trust, compassion, tenderness, love. Turns out that for me, these are the tools that we can use to find our way to peacefulness, happiness, and safety. Not because they're good things to do or because we should do them, but because it gets us, maybe it gets me what I want. I notice that when I think and act in these ways, my breath comes easier and slower. My muscles relax, and my life just gets better. So, these are some of the things I learned from the simple question, what is it I really want? I'd like to finish up by taking you on a short guided meditation in place of a meditation that we didn't do earlier. When I use words like gentle and kind and compassionate and love, I lump them together under the word soft. Can you feel the softness around those words? Can you feel a sense of inner softness around words like compassion and caring and love? So I'd like to invite you on a simple little experience with softness. Let's begin, please, by letting your hands rest easily on your thighs or with each other. Your body resting easily in its chair. And if it's comfortable for you, please allow your eyes to close. Notice your breath entering and leaving your body. Please take your attention now to your face. Take a nice breath in, and as you exhale your breath, as you release your breath, allow your face to feel soft. Do it again. Exhale your breath and allow your face to feel soft. It might feel like you're about to smile. The muscles in the face are relaxed. And then please take your attention down to your shoulders. Take a nice breath in, and as you exhale this breath, allow your shoulders to be soft as well. You may feel them fall just a little away from your neck. They may feel heavy. Feel what it feels like to have soft shoulders. Please take your attention now to your arms and hands. Take a nice breath in, and as you exhale your breath, simply allow your arms and hands to be soft, relaxed, and easy. Perhaps your hands even feel heavy upon your thighs. Then please take your attention to your torso, chest and belly and back. Take a nice breath in, and as you exhale this breath, allow your torso to feel soft as best it does. And then take your attention down to your low body, to your hips, buttocks, upper legs, lower legs, and feet. Take a nice breath in, and as you exhale this breath, allow your low body to feel soft as well. Just release anything you might be holding there. You might even feel like your feet are heavy upon the earth beneath. So for the next few moments, please, just sit comfortably where you are. Breathe easily. And with each exhale breath, think to yourself the word soft and see what part of your body responds by feeling soft. 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 And when you're ready, can we turn your attention to the room? Thank you so much for spending this time with me this morning.
Let's all sing the rose together.
The closing words are from a woman named Dorothy Hunt, who writes this: Peace in this moment, peace is this moment without judgment. That is all. This moment in the heart space where everything that is welcome. Peace is this moment without thinking that it should be some other way, that you should feel some other thing, that your life should unfold according to certain plans. Peace is this moment without judgment, this moment in the heart space where everything that is is welcome.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our heart until we are together again. Go in peace. John.